Um, One sec. And so we finally decided to build a pool in our backyard last year during COVID, mainly for them. And during the whole process of building the pool and actually waiting because of COVID to get a permit, I ran across Swimply. I can't remember now how, but I think it was probably to some news article. And just that idea kind of stayed in my head during that process of the pool. And so I tried to kind of plan for possibly using Swimply when our pool is ready. And initially it was just to cover basic costs. I knew that a pool is going to cost more money water-wise, electricity-wise, gas, etc. So the one aspect that we kind of adjusted was trying to figure out a way to have a bathroom in the backyard, because if we were going to have guests, we thought that was a necessity. Any case, our pool was built November of last year. We immediately posted on Swimply. It was a really slow process initially. We got a handful of people mostly trying to use our jacuzzi because it was cold. And one of the things that we immediately learned about pool ownership is that it's really expensive to heat it. So unfortunately, our girls wanted to swim as soon as we had the pool, but it was just too expensive. So one of the first things we did is that we posted the pool for rent, and then we made our price very low, but the heating cost was relatively high, enough to cover the full cost of heating for a day. And so what we would do is we would wait for someone to rent out the pool for heating, and then our kids would swim before and after. So that was kind of our initial use out of it. We started realizing we could cover that so we can, our kids could swim. And then eventually we just kept going from there. As the weather got a little bit warmer, we were able to drop the price. We just did our best to make every experience, even with small visits to the jacuzzi, really enjoyable for our guests, so that we could get a couple of 5-star reviews, just because we wanted to stand out and make it, it's more appealing when you have a couple of reviews on your profile. And then, yeah, as it progressed and things got warmer, we just kept adjusting our prices and just improving the quality of the, learning from our experience, basically. Yeah, and then so we continued, and then our big change was that a friend of a friend asked to do a birthday party at our pool. And so we kind of, that was the first time we did that. That wasn't through Swimply because it was just a close friend, but that experience let us figure out how we could possibly get more birthday parties, because we hadn't really done any kind of event. And so we then kind of started adjusting things. We created our Instagram around that point. And we just started.
So hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. So we'll get to the star of the show, which is your Instagram. But some people are texting in saying they are not able to hear us. James, is that an issue?
I can hear fine.
It's good. I think it's good.
It's good. Okay. Okay. Great. So yeah. So it seems like you guys, kind of just figured it out as you went, right? Like you kind of tweak stuff. You were like, okay, this is working, this is not working, and it seems like it's a really ongoing process of really what's working for you. And I remember something important that you said last time, which is kind of finding a balance with what works for your family, right? And really just making it your own. You've really taken this concept and really made it work for your life, which is kind of what I love about this story specifically. So before we get into, some of the marketing tips, what is your favorite part about being on Swimply? Maybe three things that you love about being on Swimply.
So I would say, so during COVID, we had our kids at home, so I wasn't able to work anymore because of the homeschooling. So COVID just let me spend more time with my kids while still making an income like I was before. And actually, I had a part-time job, but I quit it when we started Swimply because the income from Swimply was just higher than even my part-time job without me even going outside of the house. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, besides the financial thing, which it was very helpful for us because we could consider it also, you can't tell here, but my wife's pregnant. So we're having another baby coming up in another month.
Congratulations, you guys.
So being able to kind of do this as a side job that was really making decent income, we could start saving a little bit more. So that's definitely a bonus. But the other thing is, though, because we were like, we respected our guests and really wanted them to have a good experience. We do really love it when, you know, we get such great reviews, but like when we talk to them occasionally, when there's larger events, they really appreciate it. They really enjoy the space. So that to me is like one of the other really nice things about Swimply is it feels like it's a more of a community thing versus like just a business transaction. We don't want to feel like we're just running some kind of, you know, venue from our back of our house and it's, you know, very cold. We want to be warm and friendly with with our guests and feel like they really enjoyed it to the point that they don't even care about the money they spent. They had such a great experience. So that's what we like kind of bank on. We want to feel like they're getting the best out of this.
That's awesome. You know, like, so it'll be nice to share with all of the other hosts or to be hosts is that what are some of the first things you thought of while thinking about, okay, now I have this pool, okay, I want to put it on Swimply, but like, what are some of the things I'm going to do so that my pool is special? And you touched upon some of this, but like, if you can just highlight from what you did with your space to kind of how you went about marketing it, and just a little bit about that.
Sure. So, I mean, the origins of the orange pool is simply the fact that I'm obsessed about orange. So when we decided to build this pool, I personally was like, I want something orange in this pool. And luckily our contractor actually had an orange car. So he was on board. So we got orange tile around the inside of the pool. And so I was the one that kind of named it because I just wanted, I felt, you know, like I said, my favorite color kind of stood out for me. When it was all done, it was very bright and colorful, and we kind of added a few orange accents with umbrellas. So that's kind of where we initially went off of. We created the Instagram account. Really, it was just out of trying to create more pictures, a place for people to come and see all the different things that they can see in the pool. Because a lot of times people kept asking a bunch of questions about how certain things looked. And we just wanted to add more video, more photos for them to see, rather than finding some, you know, like trying to explain something to them, or some people try to ask to come look at the pool. So that was the initial reason for the Instagram account. But my wife is much more experienced and like knows how to make things look nice. So she quickly took over that, and that she's the one that all these photos, all these like designs and everything are her skill.
No, it's fantastic. In fact, you know, some of the issues that we come across is with the photographs, is, you know, how to take great photographs of my pool. And, you know, do you have some tips to share there in terms of like, how can we get great photographs?
Yeah, so like one of my biggest things that I like is like brightening up the photos. So whenever you take a photo, just make it like bright and stand out. And you don't even need like an app for that. You can just do it right in your, you know, photos. And then another thing, like I tried to base our Instagram off of like a theme. So like the orange pool, and our theme is like colorful and like Palm Springs style. And there's like a hotel in Palm Springs that I really like. It's called the Saguaro Hotel. So I follow them and like I get my inspiration from them. And I know like some people have like, for example, like a Hamptons theme or a Hampton style pool. So like it'll be cool if, you know, if they don't know what to take, just follow like a Hamptons hotel or something, for example, and see what they're posting in their photos, right? And then just kind of like go from that. And I guess,
I mean, in general, in terms of what the content of the photos are, we just recommend put yourself in the shoes of the renter, right? You want them to imagine themselves at your pool. So make sure the photos feature a large, you know, some photos show all of the pool. Others show different aspects of it, so people can see what, you know, maybe your jacuzzi looks close up, what your bar area looks close up. And then we've added things like what our bathroom looks like, what the patio space looks like, just as much photos as you can, but separate them so that you get a little bit of all the details as well. And that comes really from the questions that we've gotten through Swimply. Because one of the biggest questions people have asked us is like, do you have a bathroom? I know it's listed there, and it would be great if every guest read all of our descriptions, but oftentimes they don't, and they ask the same questions over and over. So what we did is we just try to, you know, take feedback from those questions and add the photos or videos or highlights in to kind of give them, a view of it, but a nice glamorous view. That's why I said, so like our bathroom, for example, you think it's, boring. And
Well, yeah, like one example is like we use a porta potty. So like when we put porta potty on our description, like you think, oh, gross. Like you obviously think like the construction site. But like our porta potty is like all cute and decorated. We have flowers in there, So like obviously, like how can I explain that to someone over
Wow.
the chat, So I want to
That looks
show
fantastic.
that it's not like construction site.
No,
yeah,
that looks better than my bathroom, you guys. It looks really, really nice. I love it. I love what you guys have done with it. And you're absolutely right. I think adding that pop of color, and we're visual people, I think, and that's why Instagram is such a big hit. It's like we like more than reading stuff in a listing, we like to kind of see stuff. And once we kind of see what it looks like, that automatically gets our excitement going. So case in point, what you guys have done with Instagram. While we are on your Instagram, I think this would be a great opportunity to just kind of walk through what you guys did. Like Natalie, maybe you could just share with us all the different occasions that you've captured. Some of the things to keep in mind, really simple things too. It doesn't have to be too complicated, but like some of the simple things that hosts can do to kind of make their pool look as amazing as you guys have.
Yeah, so like anytime we have an event, for example, can you go up to so I usually, before the guests arrive, if it's like set up by a vendor or if they're setting up, I just ask like, oh, can I just take a photo? And for example, like I took these photos, and then now people who, want to have like a kids party here, they can imagine like what it looks like. They can imagine themselves there. Or like a baby shower, for example. They can see like, oh, I can use this for my baby shower like next month too. It's like sometimes people don't think about that kind of stuff. But then it kind of like gives them an idea. Or like, for example, so this one, a vendor came to our house to set it up, and I took a photo of that. And then we actually tagged the vendor and they tagged us. And I think they had like 30,000 followers. So that's like free advertising for us. We got
Did
paid.
you ask him to do that? Did you ask him to tag you? Like, or did you tell him like, hey, can you tag me? Or how did that go?
Well, usually if it's like a vendor and they come set up at our house, we usually come outside and meet them and kind of form like a small relationship with them. That way, if someone is coming to us saying, oh, do you know who can do this? We can refer them. And, maybe if someone's coming to them saying, oh, do you have like a venue? They can refer us because we talk with them and kind of have a relationship with them.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even take, if it feels comfortable enough, you can ask them to tag. But I mean, for us, we're just being very friendly with them, talking, chatting. We told them like, we'll take a couple of photos so we can tag you guys in it. And obviously, they want to be tagged as much as they can be as well, because they're also too, regardless of how many followers, these are all relatively small businesses. So I think that's like they'll see that we tagged them and we took such nice photos that there's no reason that they wouldn't want to share that as well. Yeah.
And one of the things that we also do, we let our guests know that we are on Instagram, and if you post anything, just like tag us, right? So if so your guest comes, for example, and tags you, right, in the post, and then they have 500 followers. So now all of their like followers, 500 followers, just saw your advertising and it was free, right? So that's like another thing. Just let them know, maybe like a little sign, like tag us follow us on Instagram out by the pool or something like that.
Yeah.
And you also have it in your Swimply listing, right? Right up front that, this we're on Instagram and check us out, right?
Yeah. That's because our goal is like, this is where it, there's only so much they can see on Swimply because it's not a social media feed, obviously. So we were trying to draw them out to take a look over here, because I think, again, this is where there's enough time, videos and enough photos that we can show them a lot more aspects, a lot of small things that they can see that may, just trigger that, like, oh my God, I want to do the same thing that these people are doing in this photo. I want to have this slide, or my kids are going to have just as much fun as these kids. So it's like you're just trying to create like a feel of what their party might be like so that they can visualize it, and then now they're hooked. Because that's the thing is, like, if you don't stand out, then every other pool in your area is equal to them. So you need a way for them to, to capture them and see like, this is special, this is different, and you're not going to get this anywhere else.
Or like see themselves
Yeah.
like in the space. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, video content seems like, how does that do as compared to photos? Have you seen some more traction when it comes to videos?
Yeah, I mean, I think the videos do definitely get more views. I mean,
Click on it.
I'm sorry.
Can you see our insights? Like this is a post that we like boosted for $5, right?
Okay.
Like for example, and like we had like 16 people like save it, like 10 people sent it to their friends and stuff. So like just like you can make sure that when you create your Instagram account, you can create it kind of like as a business, so that way you can promote it rather than like there's different settings that you can do. So that way you can see like, oh, like this post is doing well. So if a post is doing like really well and like a lot of people are liking it and commenting, that's probably the best post to boost if you want to do that. But we didn't boost any of our posts or promote any of our posts until recently. And even then it's like $5 here and there. It's nothing major that we did.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, you see what I've been doing
Yeah, so I mean, like in general, like this is a good example of the photo. Like for us, our space isn't huge, so we try to find a way to both make the pool look large, but at the same time feature enough things that you can then kind of like, we have our bouncer, we have our pool slide, and then we have 2 really colorful floats. So that kind of shows people the variety of options that they could possibly have, and you can kind of see a lot of little different, items here and there that kind of make it pop more so if it was just a pool photo. So we purposely put these items in the background to kind of give people more things to see and discuss.
And are these items, always there for guests, or do they have to choose them if they want to use them?
They do also, like the floats are rotating constantly. Unfortunately, everyone knows that they constantly pop, so we put new ones in and old ones go out. But we always offer some form of floats. The pool slide is probably our most popular amenity. It's almost always available. If someone doesn't want it, we'll move it under the patio or something. But it's popular, and we keep it kind of cheap in price, so almost everyone gets it, even those that end up maybe not even using it that much. The bouncer is one of our more premium amenities because you have to run it with electricity. We have to keep it going, and then it needs a hose. It just takes more setup, and we don't really want anybody over the age of 10 using it because it'll break. So that one is more specifically for like birthday parties, young kid parties, maybe a family event with a lot of little kids. Our kids love to use it. That's part of the reason we got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of times we buy these things in combination if we think we can get some use out of it as well. But like, yeah, so one of the things to note for like the bouncer, we bought that because a lot of times we would get questions about, for a birthday party or some type of event, can we bring our bouncer? Can we rent a bouncer? Unfortunately, our backyard's not that big, and so it was difficult to keep explaining to people like it doesn't fit. We only have limited space. So after a couple of questions about it, we kind of just decided, why don't we just get our own, something that our kids could use, but then one that we knew fit in the space. And so what we did is we got one, and then we just started offering it as a premium amenity. So if someone asked about it, we could just say, yeah, we do have an option here that does fit in our space, and it's for this certain type of age. Yeah, and then so we just went off of that, and slowly it paid for itself. And so yeah, I mean, we get a use out of it too for our kids, but now we have something to offer people when they ask.
Yeah, it's mostly like you kind of like, the more you're on it, the more you're doing Swimply, the more you see like what people need. So people often we specialize kind of like in birthday parties, like kids' birthday parties. I don't know, it just like happened that way. So a lot of people are asking, oh, do you have a fridge for like a birthday cake? And like we didn't want to like let people inside our house because it was like, we have kids and stuff. So we just got like a mini fridge, and then that's how we get like most of our stuff. Just
Yeah, and the
not.
thing is, we got almost everything, like especially initially, off of Marketplace. We don't have like a huge amount of money to like buy brand new. I found a mini fridge for 50 bucks, drove out, picked it up, and then eventually I actually found another mini fridge that was bigger for also $50. So I sold
No
mine,
way.
the old one, and got this bigger one. So we just upgraded slightly here and there. The funny thing for the pool slide, Natalie actually found that the first one on Facebook Marketplace. We used it for one of our kids' birthday parties. It only lasted about two events and then popped because it was already used. So that's when we actually started buying it off of, we bought a new one off of Amazon or whatever, and we just charged until it paid for itself. That's the only item that is so popular. There was a sale and we bought two more. So we actually have two in the back in the house waiting in case this one pops because we've gone through three of them already now. But again, they pay for themselves before they pop.
Exactly. And it adds to the experience, right? And so it's kind of like a small cost, but it impacts the experience in such a large way.
Yeah. Specifically that, like we found that if you once it pays for itself, we kind of dropped the price and we were down to like maybe $20. And the thing is, most families that see that as an option, as like a slide for only 20 bucks, they'll almost always get it. Even if the kids end up not using it, we've had adults get it and also like eventually not even use it. Some do, some don't, but it's not like it gets a heavy amount of use all the time. But for a small cost, sometimes people would just go, let's just see maybe someone will like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's how we kind of also manage our prices. If we want it to get a lot of use, we'll drop the price a bit. But if it's a specialized item like the bouncer, or we don't want a bunch of kids or like older kids in there because it actually could break. So that one's
Exactly.
a higher price, and we specifically put like must be this age, etc.
Yeah.
Great. So I just want to show everyone your highlights as well on your Instagram, like how you've done your highlights. So if you want to so you can walk them through it. Yeah.
So go ahead.
So these are just like, different parties that, vendors set up. So we just take a photo. And like, for example, this sign, I actually like found it also on Facebook Marketplace for like $15. And I saw like, I think someone in the Swimply group posted that they had it. And I was like, oh, let me see if I can find one. So I got it. And that's every time someone has a birthday party, that's, they order that. And we charge $15 and it's probably been used like 30 times, would you say? And so it's like it paid for itself like 30 times already, for example. And then
one of the things that we also do, like this is something that'll help you on occasion, like sometimes people don't get it, right? Like it's a birthday party and they even notate it, but they didn't get it. And we'll sometimes just offer it to them as a free little toss in at the end. If it's a large event, because then they kind of feel like, oh, that's they appreciate it even more. It's not the end of the world. So
like, for example, if we have like a party on Saturday that did order the happy birthday sign and I put it up, and then there's a party on Sunday that didn't order it, like I'm just like too lazy to take it down. So I'm like, oh, it's like a complimentary happy birthday sign. So like, just like stuff like that, you can like, we throw in like free stuff.
And that helps with reviews as well. I'm guessing reviews is a big part of this whole marketing. It really just depends on the reviews. So how do you guys go about that?
So like, so when we get a booking, every time we get a booking, we always message the person like, hi, the person's name. Thank you so much for booking with us. Please let us know if you have any questions. If not, we look forward to hosting you on the date. So we always message anyone who books with us. And then after they leave, we always message them probably like an hour after and just say, hi, I hope you guys had a great time at our pool. If you have like a free moment, a review would be so appreciated. Thank you. And we hope to host you again. So every time someone books, we always message before and after. And we kind of think it's like, kind of like customer service, like, I guess, sort of, having them appreciate and feel special. And
so
like, initially, so now of course, the orange pool is pretty popular. But like, if you go back initially, when you're just kind of starting off, I'd love for you to share a little bit about how you went about reviews, pricing, just so that some of our hosts who are just kind of, warming up to the idea of Swimply, getting some of this up and running, what are some simple steps that one can take to kind of, start the process of putting the pool out there? And of course, giving it a brilliant name like the Orange Pool is a genius idea. But, there's a story to it, right? Like marketing is all about storytelling. So I think you guys have done a wonderful job of that. But like simple, low-hanging steps that somebody can take to start this process.
Sure. And so I just want one note. One of the things is that you see all these photos and videos and all this stuff that we have for the birthday. So we don't get that much content from actual visitors because we don't want to bother them. It's private.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
utilize your friends, utilize your family.
Utilize your
a lot of your dogs.
Your dogs and your
All-
kids.
yeah.
Those always
Most
get.
of these videos that you see are actually our own birthday parties, my kids' birthday parties, or friends, something that we were already participating in. The advantage there is that you control what the photos and videos look like. You don't want to grab somebody else's and then depend on their quality. So a lot of this stuff, even though like we just had when our friends were over or when somebody that we knew was over, we used them for the photos. But yeah, in terms of low-hanging fruit, I mean, I think the simplest is you start your page, come up with something that makes you unique. Even if we built our pool, so we recently, so at least I got to add that orange tile, but you could just buy some accent colors or whatever that you might want to use or whatever theme
Or
you want to
just
go
like
off with.
another theme, like
But then like the first steps I think are relatively simple. Get a couple of photos of the overall space in a really nice light, but then also use the videos and the highlights to emphasize different parts of your pool. So imagine look into what people are asking you, or what maybe even like someone that doesn't know your property would ask you about. What does your bathroom look like? What does your jacuzzi look like? What, etc. And just take some photos of each of those things in a nice light. And remember, show them in the day and night, right? Because you want people to imagine themselves in that space and know that they can actually use it well at night. That's why if you notice, like we have several nighttime photos, we want you to know that like it's not gonna be a dark and scary place. We have all these accent lights, there's something for you at night too. Because I think also nighttime isn't necessarily as popular as
for
us
some
definitely.
other people, like it is.
Yeah, so we wanted to create like a relaxing experience for you to see that, oh, you can come at night. When it was like, it also depends on the season, right? For us, this was initially started when it was cold. So we really wanted to try to get some people to come in and be like, oh, it's cold out, but we have a really nice hot jacuzzi. You can come, take enjoy yourself at night. It doesn't have to be like a daytime party. So that's what we initially aimed for. And then, you can see we kind of adjusted towards what people were asking for, which was event type of asking about events. So we did more event type photos. But yeah, just
talk about like pricing, like how we priced it in the beginning.
Sure. So I mean, and then like I often say, if anyone asks, is like it's okay to start low on pricing if you don't know. Like I can't tell you what your best price is for you because I don't know how much competition you have. I don't know what area you're in. I don't know the weather in your space. I know only my own.
Say how we started. So when we started, we just wanted to get people in our space to see our space to get like at least like one review. So we priced ourselves.
I think like for example, I think initially because it was cold, so we had like $20 an hour, but that was for the cold pool. So nobody would really rent that because it was too cold. But then we did like a $10 charge for the jacuzzi. So essentially we're just trying to get someone to get the jacuzzi for $30 an hour. And then eventually, like I said, we wanted to try to cover the cost of heating. So I think we charged like $50 flat fee or $60 flat fee for the heated pool. So we were hoping someone would just get the pool for like 2-3 hours. And then so that would they would be paying $20 or $60 for 3 hours and $60 for the heated pool. And then, like I said, our kids could then use it, right? So that's kind of how we started out. When we started seeing that, especially as the weather got warmer, that people were trying to book out way in advance. Like we had people asking us 3-4 months in advance how much it is for a birthday party or some kind of event. And that's when we were like really out of our comfort zone. We had no idea. Like I don't know what it's going to be like for first-time pool owners. We had no idea what it's going to be like in 4 months, so we don't know how to price it. So that's when we started kind of increasing our prices slowly because we didn't want people seeing such a cheap rate and trying to jump to the point that we couldn't even guess at. So that's where we kind of slowly started raising our prices, especially as we could reduce the cost of heating. And we kind of started bouncing around. That's where we saw like if the price was too low, we would get a lot of requests. And if the price started going too high, we would get less. So we kind of were playing around with it. And like what I would say to anybody is, it depends on what you're comfortable with in your family, right? We have kids that want to use the pool. So we didn't want to get bombarded to the point that every single day, every hour is booked, because then we would have been frustrated that the kids can't use it, we can't use it. And that would have just ended up badly for us. We probably would have just gone, overwhelmed and stopped. So I kind of went back and asked myself, what is the ideal amount of bookings that we're happy with? That it's not about the cost yet. It's about figuring out what would be like, what do you want? Do you want a booking every single day? Do you want just 3 times a week? Or, whatever you want, that's what is your ideal. And then we started adjusting our prices to try to match that ideal. So if we were getting too many, that means the price got to go up. If we're getting too little, we went down. And so that's what we're trying to figure out for us because of what was best for our family. We're still kind of playing with that too.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So you said photographs. I love that you said show day and night, because you're trying to show that your home is a safe space, right? Like you can come at any time, and this is what it's going to look like. You spoke about pricing, and like start off with like a welcome price, because you're trying to also build reviews. You're also trying to get your pool kind of out there. Is there one more thing that you'd like to share with our hosts in terms of what they should keep in mind?
Yeah, well, so like here's the thing, like almost everything here was slowly built up. Nothing, we didn't add. So here's the TV I found on Marketplace later on and added it in because I thought, one, for myself, but we wanted to offer people the ability to listen to music. So we added a TV. I found a sound bar on Marketplace and added it on. We added the lights after the fact. And like you said, light it up. We actually kept adding a little bit more lights because we noticed there were spaces in our area, like when you walk in, that it wasn't bright. So I bought some more lights and added it there. We got a new barbecue grill, Marketplace as well, actually, but much newer version than what we had.
Very cheap.
Because like for us, it was always like, I don't want to overwhelm us by spending like hundreds of that or $1,000 on new stuff. And then now we're in debt before we make that money. So almost everything we had, like our patio furniture was what we had before the pool was even built.
But like everything we have, like I feel like we use ourselves as well. Like, like we have kids, so we bought a bunch of kids stuff, and then it just so happened that most of the stuff we do is like kids parties. So we're like, okay, well, like, now that makes sense that we have all these things.
Yeah. And like I said, like that. So we didn't have any tables before, but one of the most common questions for events was like, oh, do you have any tables? And like, we don't. So they had to try to find a vendor. And so the thing is that we were like, well, if people keep asking about tables, why don't we get a couple? We can use them for our own parties. But that way, when someone asks about them, they don't have to have that extra headache of finding somebody to then come and set up tables and take them down. We'll set them up for you. We'll take them down. And that reduces that like complexity for them. So it's just, listening to what our guests were asking and within reason, trying to accommodate them myself if it wasn't a headache. So like, we're not going to buy 20 tables. We don't have anywhere to put it. And we're not trying to become that type of like venue, but we can get 2-3 tables that fold up. We can get we got an extra umbrella because we wanted to add a little bit more shade. So like everything was just trying to adapt to the weather. Again, this is all technically new for us. We haven't had a pool for even a year, so we're still adapting to how the weather is. Yeah, we just keep adding and changing based off of like, well, we don't. When people ask us about like September, we don't know yet, so we don't know what the weather's there. We're trying to kind of guess now.
Like another thing I just want to add that we forgot to put. So like we have a lot of events. So I know a lot of like other people also have more event based. So we just did a little paper on the back of the door.
Oh yeah. So I mean, one of the things that I was trying to figure out is how, like, our goal, even on Instagram, isn't just to get anybody to follow us. I don't really care if someone in New York is following us. That's great, but they're not going to come and use my pool. I'm just trying to find people within our area that want to follow us so that those are the people we can kind of attract. So one, to anybody that visits or messages us, we're trying to show them like, hey, you should keep following us because we'll update the pool temperature if it gets warmer. This is when it was colder.
Or like, why would you want to follow? Like, oh, I see your Instagram. Okay, yeah, I'll book. But why would I follow you? So we give them incentives like, like follow us because, sometimes we do like a free pool slide, or something like that.
Or like a promotion code or something.
Yeah, or like
A promo code.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were trying to give them a reason to follow us because we were going to, like, if we're doing a special deal or, there's something that they might want to know. And then we, like I said, so we're trying to find ways to attract local people. So what I realized was the thing is a lot of times people hold birthday parties. So a bunch of other parents are coming with their kids. And we wanted to somehow see if we could capture some of those other parents because the host isn't going to be like, hey guys, this is from Swimply. You guys should check them out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're still working on it, but initially I created a little poster that we have at our gate as you leave that says like, take a photo of this. Here's our, if you want to rent this event for your barbecue or party or whatever. And it has like the link, it has all of our information and a little business card with just our basic info. So we were just trying to find, I'm still working on it.
So all those people,
No.
So all those people that came to the other person's party, that's like 30 moms and 30 dads. And now that's like free advertising, So like there's a lot of ways to get kind of like the free advertising, just little things here and there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I think that's totally genius because there's one person that's booking the event, but there's 40 other people that are coming to it. And so, they're experiencing it. So they might as well, follow you guys and they're going to book you for their events and their birthdays and spread the word like that. So I think that's awesome. Yeah, you guys have been totally candid by sharing your story and like as you've learned along the way. And I just love to ask the folks that have come here if they have any questions. I want to make sure that we have time to, answer any questions that anybody might have before we wrap up. James, are there any questions that have come in the chat box that we want to ask?
I mean, I did see one now, and I mean, it's up to you guys if you want. I mean, there's one. It's someone asked. Kai asked, "What percentage has Swimply, meaning the earnings you've made, paid off your pool, like the cost of building it?"
Yeah, I mean, I don't really mind. The part that I can't speak on is we haven't really tracked expenses as much as we should. But overall, I would say like it's surprisingly, we might pay off like 50% by the end of the year. That's what I mean.
That's like in 1 year.
It's definitely more surprising than I would have expected, but I would be cautious on that only because we don't track like how many times have we bought floats, how many pool chemicals, those basic kind of expenses. Eventually I'll have to look into those. So we're only tracking, I try to do my best to track our income, but it's mainly on taking off like the basic maintenance of the pool and or heating, not off of like everything that we bought for the pool on a monthly basis.
Well, because our kids use it too.
Yeah, so I mean,
our family uses it too. So when we it's not strictly like,
only for business. Yeah.
Awesome. And then Sarah just asked kind of about the vendors and how you kind of got made these connections with the vendors. And I know we chatted about it quickly before, just like who made those connections? Was it the swimmers that kind of brought them and then you made that connection, or was it you that made those connections and now offered that to the swimmers?
Yeah, so initially we didn't know any vendors. So they would just find their own, but the vendors usually, come before the party. So once they are here, we, get to know them and, just say the things like, oh, we'll have you guys tag us and just kind of get to know them and just be like, oh, like if we have other events, since you've been to our space and kind of know the layout, we'll recommend you to other people, if they ask for like a balloon person, like this person here. She was the first one that we kind of worked with, and then we're like, oh, like we'll recommend you, and if you know anyone that needs a venue, you can recommend us.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had one vendor that actually just directly messaged us at one point and was just like, hey, I'm a local vendor, I do A, B, and C. If you have any, someone in your wants one of these features, you can reach out to me, etc. So I mean, eventually, if you not necessarily get huge, but if you're known enough in the area, some vendors will start. Well, sorry, vendors follow vendors. So that's another thing. Is like that's how they find you. So once you and one vendor shares your information. If they have other vendors that deal, similar items, obviously not direct competition, but they'll see you and they're going to try to follow you because they also want, whatever they can get. So
It's like a mutual
it builds, yeah.
relationship.
Eventually
Yeah.
it'll build. But yeah, we didn't really reach out to any specific vendor. Yeah, I mean the bathroom, the porta potty was one of the first things that we did that kind of on our own to find somebody. I think that was one of the most commonly asked things about also on our Facebook
Facebook.
for
Yeah.
other well, I'm saying from other Swimply hosts and stuff because the bathroom situation. So we found our porta potty.
Awesome. We're almost at time. I have a quick question. You guys like are saying, and it's clear that your main source of bookings are these kids' birthday parties, these small, like family-oriented parties, I would call it. So, and these are great bookings, in my opinion, because they are the bigger bookings. So obviously the bigger earners, the longer, the more, but also easy, not an adult party, which can get louder, which can, get a little more out of control. So I think my question is, and maybe it's from this Instagram, how did you become, the go-to kids party place? So I think that would be probably what a lot of people would love to be. I would love to be in my area, the place to make kids parties. So that is, I would think, the ideal booking.
It does it has its pros, but there are cons. So everything has its pros and cons. I think for us, that's the kind of people that most often reached out. So we did that, pushed us in that direction. Like Natalie said, because we have 2 kids and we buy things here that are already oriented for them, I think that was that appeal as well. Like we just naturally have stuff for kids events because we had it for them. The other thing, I mean, I think it also depends on the area. In our area, we're in more suburban area with a lot of moms, kind of those types of groups of people that are looking for something. And so I feel like our prices are not only competitive against not other pools, but other kid spaces for parties, because you can get more hours here, whereas everybody else is very strict. And there's just much more flexibility and control, and kids can have a lot of fun here for a long time. So, I mean, that's how we saw people showing interest. So then we did try to have our Instagram aim towards that direction. Again, having
Once
2
we
kids.
saw, like once we saw that our direction was like heading towards kids parties, we're like, okay, so let's just make the best of it, so that's when we started advertising, all the different kinds of, kids amenities and catering more towards that. But like, if it's not something that you want to do, you just have to like find, what is your direction and like the area you're in.
Yeah, totally. Completely. But the other thing is, like, I do know. So for example, one of the things that we try our best to kind of avoid with kids parties is the noise, because kids will yell and scream. And I mean, they're having fun, but we try to, because of that, aim our rules towards the parents knowing, like, please, if your kids are yelling, we need you to calm them down. They can't be screaming. We have neighbors. So we try our best to emphasize our rules for those types of events to avoid the problems. Because we have, if it is an adult party, which we get occasionally, then we have to let them know, like, the noise has to be kept down when it gets dark, because they tend to be the ones that want the later parties. So we do, plan our rules according to the types of events.
Yeah. Just like find what works for you, like what you want, and then I guess just like go with that.
Yeah, I just think, like, again, like you said, like,
because not everyone wants kids too.
Yeah, but for us, it's just that it just seems to go that way. Like the most common
That way.
is we have a birthday party coming up.
Awesome. Really, I don't want to hold everyone past, but Neil just asked how much parking do you have? Just because I think that's probably a big issue.
So in our case, we have 2 driveways, and so we specifically try to tell people, like, we have 2. Well, we have 1 driveway that can hold 2 cars. So we're like, we're going to give this to you. You can put 2 cars there so that you take up less street parking. We do have a bit more street parking than normal, but we have had issues. So we did specifically set rules that said, please make sure do not block the sidewalk, do not block an actual driveway, so park appropriately. And if somebody is trying to hold a larger party, you might need to go park on the side street. But part of that is we also lowered our count. We initially at one point were up to like 50 people were allowed, but we realized that's just not viable for us where they're, took up every parking
50
spot.
people can fit in our backyard, but like the parking for 50 people, like we don't want to be a nuisance to our neighbors as well. So we just we limited it to 35 people. And I think like when they book, we ask them please, oh no, before they book, I think we say, can you make sure like you're okay with all the rules and whatever? And all our rules say like, please, have your guests park on the side, right? On the side
Yeah,
street.
we basically, it depends on the time. I'll give you that it also depends on day and time, right? Like there's certain times where all street parking is almost open. Like if we have a Wednesday booking or something. So we just make sure, again, the main thing is we don't want to draw attention to ourselves from our neighbors. We don't have an HOA, luckily, but we just don't want to create a bad experience for everybody around us. So we don't want people blocking sidewalks. We don't want them like just parking awkwardly. So we do ask that they park appropriately. I know my hands going, this is where our parking spots are. So I do ask them to park, in where designated spots. And so we monitor that too, because we have cameras everywhere. So if we do get a situation where we notice someone's like had a horrendous parking job, which has happened, we just message the guests and let them know that please, someone's parked on the side, like whatever, in some bad manner, please have them move their car. It's rare, so hopefully, luckily, most people understand and follow the rules. But we try to check up on our events. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Alrighty. I don't want to hold anyone too late, but this was amazing. Thank you, Alex and Natalie. Even though I've seen every time I hear you guys tell your story and talk more about your Instagram, I learn more every single time. And also this was really this idea of the host spotlight came about because we wanted to do a market secrets, which I'm sure you guys did see the invite for that. That's kind of like how you guys as hosts can take your pool to the next level marketing wise. And then as we were discussing it, we were like, okay, part of that is Instagram. Let's have Alex and Natalie share their experience as hosting in general, but also their Instagram experience. But this kind of conversation around marketing your pool and creating, almost a brand and finding your niche continues in the marketing secrets webinar, which is next week on I think Monday on the 27th. So everyone should definitely sign up to that. And Pri, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, no, that's great. Yes, it was awesome. There's some people saying thanks for sharing your experience. And I know that whatever you guys have shared today is going to be super, super useful for everyone that's here. And so, can't thank you enough. And thanks everyone for being here. We'd love to hear any feedback that you guys have, regarding this session, if you guys want to see more of this. And then we can kind of keep these learning sessions going so that we can all kind of benefit from this and the entire community is happy. So yeah. That's it. Thanks, Alex and Natalie. Do you guys want to say something to end?
No, I just like the overall goal of I guess your social media would be you want to make it the it place to be right? Like if you're not here, you're missing out. So that's kind of what you want to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just like the idea of sharing our experience with people because the whole point of this I feel is you want to be successful and you learn from each other. So for me, it's I even started the Facebook thing just because I wanted to learn from other people's experience because I don't know everything. I haven't experienced everything, whether it be good or bad. And by learning from others, you can avoid a lot of those bad issues, whether it be parking or whatever else. You just, if you can avoid those, you'll be successful longer and you won't run into problems along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of what you make of it is the underlying message here. And I love that. I love that.
Alrighty. Alrighty. Thanks so much, Alex and Natalie. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you, Priyam, for leading that awesome webinar. And thank you everyone for joining. Like Priyam said, give us feedback. We want to do more of this. This is the first time we did this. We want to do more host spotlight. Let us know what you want to hear about. We're learning too. So we want to learn with you guys. And thank you so much for joining.
Bye,
All
guys.
right, guys.
Hey guys, thank you.